Hey guys, it is Scotch for Dummies.
Oh, what's going on,
For
everybody?
Dummies Thursday night.
The best part of the conversation happens just before we go live.
I was just saying, I wish we had a podcast before the show just to listen to the conversation. You got tired, really?
It is fun.
Long
It gets
John
us worked
Silver
out.
Hey.
is better than
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Cheers to that.
Happy Thursday.
Happy
And
Thursday.
Bottle
you.
of the year.
What?
Is that
Wait, that's what we're
doing?
doing? I was just here to drink.
Right. Whoa, hang on a second. What are you warming up with?
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Look at all these envelopes.
Yeah.
I poured some Buna, which
And they-
was one of the King of the Hills, right?
Oh, so is that what we need to do? We have to go through all four of them?
Taste them all again?
But do we do
I
that
agree.
with in the order that?
Yeah.
Come
I
out.
think we'll do that. Maybe we'll drink a celebratory.
So tell what the tallying process went through, Drew.
So, as you know, we've done the King of the Hill series all year. We went through our individual winners, which was the ex-bourbon, which was Aaron 10, the blends, the naked, the sherry was Buna 12, and the PD is Peat Monster. And we tallied our individual scores, put them in envelopes. None of us know for each of those.
One person does know.
One
and
person
she's not
knows,
sitting here.
but she's not sitting here. My daughter, no whiskey was involved. My daughter got the scores, put them all together, and put them all in this envelope. So I have no idea.
The
Like, you
winner's
can't tell
envelope.
me. So we'll double check the math afterwards. But we believe in her.
So if White Walker wins, we're blaming his daughter.
So now it is down to these four cards: 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh,
And I can't see through them. We can't see
so
through
we're
them.
gonna do this like Miss America style?
That's right.
Exactly.
Is one of them gonna cry?
Probably.
Will there be a crown?
So what's
Is there going to be a swimsuit competition?
We'll use this for the
There's
crown.
not.
This is the
that's
crown.
the talent show?
That's the crown.
That's the crown. I like that.
Uh,
So, first of all, we're gonna say hi to you guys. But before we do, I would love to think, actually, to ask you guys, which is going to win? Who's going to win tonight? Like, who do you think's going to win?
So Trooper says Aaron 10. Tom calls Peat Monster. White Walker.
Peat Monster is a pretty healthy.
I don't know. I'm trying to remember what I scored them all, and I really don't remember that. So
either.
now I'm just really trying to think. That the good news is the way we did this, we didn't put them up against each other head to head because that really wouldn't have been fair to put a peated against the blended, So these really got scored on their own merit, and
for their category.
for their
So
right, and that's-
I will say it's probably not the naked. Because it's a blended category. It doesn't have quite the depth and the breadth of some of these other ones. So that's my thought. I think it's not that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, so I agree too. So if we can, instead of saying which one we think it is, we can start with saying what we think it's not.
Well, we can kind of go through and
Yeah, I don't either.
oh, really?
I've been working on it, man.
Okay,
I know
so-
it's winter. It's not my,
So there's a
Go put on the sling.
so Bob. I would agree with Bob H. It's probably the Boone 12 or the Peat
I
Monster.
love Buna's.
yeah.
That
was
that
that
was
Sunday evening scotch that you just
Yeah,
brought
so we'll go
back? I
back.
haven't
I'm
seen
going to
that
tally
guy,
these real
man.
quick. Buna, Peat Monster. Hey, Richard.
I don't know.
Richard. Buna. Got lots of
And
Bunas.
of course, Eric Wade has it correct that whiskey is going to win.
whiskey for the win.
Yeah.
Way to
Whiskey
go out
makes
on
us
a
all
limb
winners.
there.
One,
Unless it's
Pete,
White
2,
Walker.
Boone.
Oh, here,
That's
he's
not
calling
what's
them all out. Pete, Buna second, Aaron third. That's not a bad one.
Wow. All right.
Wow.
I think that's
Oh,
where I
look
would
at
go.
Ryan.
So basically, Wheelhouse is going for
He
the
put them in the
superfecta,
order.
right?
And then, of course, the real winner, Walker. Let's see who's on
Yeah,
at
a
the
lot of
beginning
people on.
here.
Yeah, there are.
Who's
First
first?
non-dummy.
Tom R.
He was
Lamar.
logged in here, but he wasn't really here. He should have been over doing another call, Zoom call at 9. So I'm not buying that.
Bob H.
You know who's not here?
Who's that?
Zach. And you know
Yeah,
why?
why?
Because he texted me and said he had to pick his daughter up from soccer practice. So
He's driving
What's up,
really
John?
fast.
That's not an
Steven,
excuse.
my
There are other
troopers.
subscribers that watch in the car.
What Uber's
Exactly.
for?
We had a few.
Um,
What's up, Trooper? Good to see you. Mikey.
Mike, hello. Good evening to you.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Thursday.
Found myself a Glen Scotia Victoria. Oh, wow. That's a nice find.
Nice.
Good for
It
you.
is
Good
a
drink.
good one.
Good for you.
It's always fun
All
seeing people
right.
find stuff out in the wild.
Very good.
Hang on, scroll back up. Was Jimmy Jazz there?
Yeah.
I thought,
I missed it. Did I see him?
Yeah, he was there.
I thought there he is, right below.
Oh, yeah.
No,
That's not Jimmy Jazz.
No,
That's just
it's-
jazzing.
He was there.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is, right there.
Where?
Oh my gosh, you guys. He's right there.
There.
Beat Monster.
All right, okay.
All right, let's get this going.
All right.
All right.
So we will pull number 4 and see what got 4th place.
Do you guys have any
So
ideas?
is this how we're doing this?
And then we're going to talk about the 4th place
We're
finisher.
gonna walk it up the ladder.
All right.
Well, when we do 2, everybody's gonna know what the number 1 is.
No.
Well,
you
what
do,
it can
you
do,
do 4, 3,
Then you
and
do
then
one.
1.
Right. So you don't know second place, obviously.
oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And then
All right.
second place just cries in the background
Yeah.
while 1 gets the hat and stuff.
He knows his beauty pageants. He's good.
Obviously, he knows his beauty pageant.
Man, come on. You
All
never
right.
watched a movie?
So it looks like there's also a bit of a scoring number.
Oh. She went above and beyond.
I told her to total all the different ones,
Oh.
and then individually put our numbers on there so we can double check everything.
All right.
Do you understand?
So number 4
The 4th
with
place
a score of 3.0625.
3.0.
because we did
I know. So okay. That's
Drum
a-
roll. What you got?
Peat Monster.
What? Let me see.
I'm
this.
stunned. So the scores, I gave it a 3.25. Mark gave it a 2.75. Really? Sean gave it a 3.0 and Drew gave it a 3.25. Peat Monster gets 4th?
That's
That
a shocker.
Stuns me.
That is a shocker.
I guess I forgot what I gave it.
I did too. What did you
Good
give
thing
it?
they can't throw
A
tomatoes at me
3.25?
through the screen, right?
Yeah, I gave it a 3.25.
2.75.
Naked's gonna pull the win on this one.
Wow.
It's not last.
That is
It's not last.
crazy.
It's
It's
not
not
All right, so
last.
why would Pete? So okay,
Well, give,
what
me
order?
give me a pull of
I
that.
want some of that too.
So Peat Monster was the second to the last one we tried.
Wow. Pete Monster was
Look at all this dead last.
yeah,
WTF.
it was a third.
It was a
What
third
on
unsub.
And here goes.
What?
Yeah, we just lost a bunch of subs. That's okay.
Every
Probably
other
fair.
Scotch
We're used to
YouTube
it.
channel on YouTube has always gone up in subscribers. We'll be the first one.
Go down.
It happens, man.
Wow, I am shocked too because that bottle has been a favorite and it did so well. I even talked about it on the pre-show.
I know. What's unique about this bottle in this category, though?
Well,
It's a
it's a blend.
But is it? And was it the price? What was that going for?
60 something, I think.
Honestly, I don't think it was the price.
I don't think so either. I don't really. There it is.
Blows me away.
I did not expect that to be fourth. I would never have guessed that.
That's why I opened up like that's 4, right?
So,
Wow.
I mean, I'll
But
be
you can
honest.
add the numbers up.
When
right?
this
Yeah,
category
that's
started,
probably right.
I did not think that Peat Monster would be
Double
the
check it.
one standing at the end. There were other peat whiskeys that I thought would be
That's probably
sitting
right.
here. I didn't think it would be Peat Monster.
I am actually really shocked that that's fourth place because it's. We were talking in the pre-show. It's one of the bottles that just had the most like width of nose to flavor to finish. Everything about it just really hit home.
But it is the peated, so it should,
So
right? Like I expect it to have bold flavors and
True.
honestly, I've got
Sorry.
definitely more of a citrus note on this.
Did you
right
know
now
that
than
4 is
anything.
the best?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah.
Well, we'll know, right? I told her fourth was the lowest.
We're gonna find out on 3.
Right. We're gonna know if it went down. It's
See
gonna-
that it's really a tasty glass. I don't know why. I
It's
mean, it's
good.
still a 3. It still averages over a 3, so it's still a bottle you have to have on your bar.
so I think for me, like it hits all the peat notes, right? Like it's got all that stuff there. But right now, tonight, drinking it, yeah, I'd probably give it a 3. Like it has good flavor and it's
Right.
well balanced, but is it
Yeah.
is it like necessarily blowing me away? I don't
Mark gave
know.
it 275.
And I'm sticking
It's
by it.
it's a real good bottle, but I think that it lacks a little bit of the finish and depth and complexity that
I think Mark tanked it.
I did. I got a little bit of lemon on it on the nose, and I got a little bit of a sourness on the palate. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, it's sitting here on the bar, but to me, I honestly feel good about if I were asked to score it right now, I'd probably come in right there.
Let me ask you a question. What if I threw in the cask strength version?
Different story, different whiskey, man. I mean, yeah.
Big Brother comes out and fighting.
It has to be right.
That one's no joke.
It's right.
I mean,
And
a
the score-
275
Yeah.
is a pretty low number with all 4 of these, I would
Yeah.
think. So I mean, that's probably right. And
Yeah.
you gave it a 3. Both of us gave it 3.25.
Yeah.
United.
So wait a
So
minute.
Mark tanked
Everyone,
it.
so everyone's saying he would rather see us add the scores. So add those up.
It's the same thing. All we do is divide by 4.
I know. I
Okay, so
math's not hard.
times.
I mean, we've
4,
proven it is, but
12.25.
12.25.
So write that down just for
There goes my bracket. That's a good one. There goes my bracket.
Mark hates compass box.
Bracket buster.
12.25.
well, hopefully you didn't put much on that superfecta. You know, I mean, you never put a lot of money on that one.
4th place.
3 count.
Let's do number 3,
So
and then
hang
we'll
on,
talk
I
about it
wanna-
next
I
year.
want to finish this
Oh, okay.
Peak
Yeah,
Monster
we
here.
don't want to rush it too much here. We got
I'm rushing.
15.
Slow
It's not a
down.
speed drain.
I got
What's
stuff to do.
Mr. T
8
say?
minutes per. What'd you say?
I said, slow down. Mr. T, the Eddie Murphy skit. Come on, man.
I don't remember that.
Do you really want me to redo it live?
No.
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 Probably not.
We'll get demonetized.
It's kid show.
We'll get demonetized.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
Joe,
Bud's
it can come
probably
down.
Just go Google it if you need to know.
upset.
So,
Bud's probably disappointed in us.
Yeah, well,
but
if Lagavulin was there, I think that.
well, yeah, and he said his bottle was White Walker, so we can't disappoint him on that.
Wow. That
But-
COVID must have hit him hard.
The only reason that bottle's good is because it's cheap.
I mean, I know it's here and it got here fairly, and we put it through, and but yet there are other Pete's out there that I have enjoyed more than I'm enjoying this right now. I'll say that.
And it's fair to say that we individually gave them their own category review. So they're not tainted. We're not saying that it's better than Sherry or wherever. It was in the moment. We rated it for what it was.
Right.
The value
Yeah.
of what it was. It won the Pete of the Year.
Right.
So
So I mean, it belongs here.
Give
That's
it-
good.
it's-
right.
It's like Miss Iowa or something, right? Like, I mean,
She's the best in
What are you trying
Iowa.
to say about Iowa?
I like Iowa. It came in fourth.
she could.
What
she
are you
could-
talking
was
about?
it hula hoop her?
They're good corn and pork fed women.
It's all good. I'm just saying, you know, you got to contend with Miss Hawaii too.
Yeah.
And
Keep your expectations. All
a
right.
little more sun in Hawaii.
Tristan says he's in Iowa, so he understands.
See, thanks.
See, and Iowa came in.
He's in Iowa.
It-
I'm not sure
Best
about
of
that
show.
comment.
It's fine. Whatever.
Best of show.
Tournament. All right.
Charlie Murphy. All right. Are we doing number 3?
Here's where we find out if we're on par or not with.
Then we got to discuss the 2 that are left.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
So-
I think after 3,
wow.
we take a time out and discuss some other things.
Yes, we will. So number 3, whiskey of the year, Scotch for Dummies, is Naked.
Okay.
Okay.
With-
That.
Okay.
3.1875.
Wow.
So I gave it a 3.25. Mark gave it a 3.
You gave it a 3.25.
Yeah, it's good for the price and
He
everything.
likes that price.
Sean 3.25 and Drew's 3.25. So Mark's again the downer, but
What happened to your title?
Yeah. Scotch what?
I think I got more scotch than all you guys. I'm still a scotch holder. I just saying.
Scotch snob
So-
is what I'm hearing.
so for those that want to do
Scotch snob. New coin.
that would be 12.75.
Put your
Okay.
pinky out when you drink that.
Wow. So what was the first one? 12 what?
12.25.
Okay. Close.
Man, so they're already above a 3 for a $30, $35 bottle of.
So let's talk prices for fun. So I think this is around 65,
Yeah.
$70, right?
Mhm.
This is still.
Really?
I think so. I'll look it up.
I'm
I
pretty
thought,
sure.
I thought it was more than that, but
Somebody price Peat Monster for me.
so I'm going to take a little pour of this.
It's a blend, so it didn't get hit with the.
You see it?
$60,
Yeah,
$61.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
And what's while we're here, let's look at blends because I think it's only still $40 for the Naked. Monkey's 40.
I
Where's
think it's
Naked?
$30.99.
Yeah. So
It's a
Huge
$30
start.
bottle of whiskey. That probably brought it up in my category. For $30, it's a good whiskey for $30.
Buy me one for my birthday.
You can't get much for $30 right now.
No.
Yeah.
It
Not
did,
in any
Steve.
brown
That's,
liquors.
that's what happened.
this would be good if I actually could do tickers here and have. we'll
You
do
should,
that.
yeah.
On there.
What do you
This
put
banner
on
can
there?
show text scrolling.
Yeah. So number 4 was Peat Monster. You guys talking?
I mean,
Yeah.
so
I know,
honestly,
we're fascinated with what you do, man.
this is really, it's pleasant on the nose. I don't have anything that's blowing me away, but there's nothing that jumps out and says you need to comment about this negatively.
Yeah, I mean it's a good everyday whiskey.
I got no problems with it.
a little weak coming in after Peat Monster, as far as on my palate, right? So it actually is really sweet.
Yeah.
I'm not getting any of the.
I still got some Peat Monster in the glass, I think, which is altering mine.
And this is a blended malt too, so
It
that's
is.
right.
Well, that helps too.
And it does, because we did put it up against just blends.
Yeah.
Right. The only other blended, well, there were more than that. Blended malts were
We had Monkey Shoulder in there.
and there was, I want to say there's one more that was a blended malt. The Black Bull, I think, is blended malt.
I don't remember that.
It's down
It's-
there.
it's in the-
It's
it's
second
on the
shelf,
left.
third shelf, right
Yeah.
there behind Tamdu, straight back. So it,
It's kind of scary that you know right where
Yeah,
that
60.
is.
Tom said 60 in Chicago. So
I looked all over for the Naked in there, and it's not.
Nah.
So honestly, this bottle of Naked, I ran home and grabbed it off of my bar, and it's literally sitting on my desk because it's $30.
Yeah,
Our
Naked
Bull's a
Grouse
blended
just
scotch.
barely
It's a blended Scotch, so there's grain in it.
Yep.
Okay.
beat Peat Monster. You're right.
I mean, it's a good dram, especially for $30.
Yeah, that's
What
why I
was it
scored it
score?
up.
Total was
3.1.
3.1875. So do you guys remember what our score was when we reviewed it?
No. If we'd done research, we might have
I
been able
think
to-
it was
probably pretty close.
325
Yeah.
is what I
Yeah.
think. So, I mean, honestly, it's holding pretty true to where, we originally.
Usually when we go back and re-review stuff, we
0.064.
come back with a pretty good, even when it was like
Years.
4 or 5 years ago,
That's true.
we usually are
Yeah.
pretty consistent in our scoring.
Now, in all fairness,
which is amazing. I'm
using
not
a
gonna lie.
scoring system on 1 to 4 with only half points, that's not that impressive. But I mean, what I've tried to explain to people in comments on the channel over the years is the scoring really was never as important to us. It was about the notes, the perceptions. What are you getting? I don't want you to get stuck on a number.
I think the score was a down and dirty way to like maybe narrow down.
It did,
Right.
and it was a way for us to relate the bottles to each
You guys
other.
have
So if you say it's good and tasty, well, that we say that a lot. By giving it a number, there is a way to at least
Right.
Quantify.
categorize. Yeah,
Especially in the beginning.
it's a subjective quantification, so it's more of a qualitative quantification, which is
Sure.
In the beginning, when all we really
Well,
knew to say was,
It's good.
"This is
Man.
tastes good." This, I mean, now
I like
7
these
years
flavors,
later,
yeah.
we've got so many things to pull from as far as experiences that I think it doesn't matter as much. What are you doing?
He's gonna pick up his cork.
Cork's down.
I'm just leaving it.
Um,
It's fine.
So I want to say the nose on this is amazing for what it is, the price, the blend.
And that's why it's up there.
I love the maltiness
It's
of it.
so good.
So what that tells me is I don't like this as much. I don't like Naked as much as I like Peat Monster, but for the price, that bumped it a
So-
quarter point for me.
So that's what you took
See,
price.
I was kind of gonna say this to me, the nose is more complex and there's a little more depth and character in this one than there is in the Peat Monster.
See, here's
Who
where
knows,
we're going to
maybe.
run into a problem if the trend continues. Drew rated both of them 3.25. So if we do the next two and your ratings on all four were 3.25, what's that say?
I like 'em all.
Pick one. Eeny, meeny, miny,
He
go.
can't
Drew.
pick.
Well, you know what else? The 2 single malts are coming out in the top 2
That's
spots.
true. That's a good point.
Man, that's so crazy.
And I actually didn't think that was necessarily going to happen. I actually thought it was going to be Boona and Peat Monster.
I did too.
But I will say I was kind of pleasantly surprised with Aaron last week.
Yeah.
Just because we did a lot of the bourbon finishes
Right.
before we tried that, and it's
good.
very obviously a very good bottle.
Yeah, it definitely stood out above the rest of them, and it belongs.
There's
in
a
the
reason why it's won so many awards and what's doing it. It's a great bottle.
Yeah.
It really is. So is Boona though. Boona's
So-
fantastic.
We're talking about Scotch for Dummies Bottle of the Year, right? Traditionally, historically, over the last 6-7 years, we have all broke off into our own little rooms, if you will, our own lives, and sat down and wrote down the bottles that were iconic to us that year. And there's flaws in doing it that way. You might pick up a bottle of the year that's been out for 5 years, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
at the end of the year, who cares? That's the bottle that meant the most to you that year, right?
Yep.
And that's worked. So this year, doing it this way is a completely different strategy. I don't know if it's better or worse. And we're going to end up with a bottle that I feel comfortable in saying really got challenged. It went through a process, right? This is not just me sitting down, writing down my favorite bottles of the year and saying, yeah, that's the one that leaves the most memory.
I'm trying to remember like
what you
compared to all these
Wow.
other ones, what you liked, or
Do you remember that? How did you guys do that process in the past?
It was difficult. I mean, there are a few bottles that always stood out to me. I mean, I remember the Kilkerrans. They were just like, how could you not pick that a couple of times? I remember the Fumari one was a very big surprise for us one year, and that stood out. But for the most part, I had to go back and look at all the reviews. I also use our rating system to kind of help give me some targets to kind of look at as well. Because there was, honestly, last year was probably the first year it really didn't do many reviews.
That's correct.
So before that, we were doing, guys, I don't even know, like
a lot.
45.
Yeah,
40
and you
reviews a year.
can't remember all of those. So I had to look. I watched some reviews. Some of the bottles I had, I'd taste a couple of them again, just double check it. But yeah, it was definitely a process. It took some time.
Yeah.
I did the same process. I went back, looked at the reviews, sorted the list based on what got my highest score. And then I went back, watch reviews, watch my tasting notes. Then if I had a bottle or I knew somebody that had a bottle, I would get a taste of it. And just kind of, then it was, I narrowed it down to like 4 or 5 that I could think these, I remember these being great. And then we do the research. I look at, other things on it, look at other reviews as well to kind of say, is my perception similar to what others see on that? Or do I have a special, love of this for some certain reason that maybe it shouldn't be as good? But ultimately I stay by my rating, my reviews, my comments on it, and then pick my bottle out of that.
Throwing this at you too. Was there ever a rating that was lower that still was your bottle of the year compared to anything else?
There were a couple that were rated that I had rated fairly low in the year, but they ended up in my top 5 or top 10. I don't know if they were ever the top 1, but there were ones that I don't know what I was thinking that day that
didn't hit you or whatever.
The number that I gave it, which rated it low in my scale, then when I went back and watched the review, I'm like, I like that more than I rated it. I don't know. Maybe you got your guys' feedback was giving me a different perspective on it.
That's true.
I think that there were definitely some years that were harder. Right?
Yeah.
Like some years, especially where we actually started getting into some higher end, better quality scotch, that we were like, oh, look, we should try all these bottles right now. And so it got really kind of challenging to pick your favorite when you had like 10 or 15 really solid bottles to put up against one another, And then as we kind of progressed a little bit more, I think there were some years that was like, okay, well, there was like 5 or 6 very memorable bottles. The year that we did Kilkerran, I think was one of those years where it was like, okay, well, that's definitely number 1.
And it was the very first one we did that year.
Like,
right?
and it was hands down. There was no
like,
question that was going in. Yeah. But then you get to like, well, what was your other bottles that should be up there? And sometimes it was a little more challenging to kind of weed out, or maybe there was just a lot of bottles that were kind of at the same level.
Well, and you also run into the situation where we get access to certain bottles that are just outstanding bottles, but it's almost not fair comparing them against the other 30 bottles we reviewed that year, because it's just that is a unicorn bottle. Like we couldn't get it again. Nobody else can get it. I guess you could call it bottle of the year, but
well, I think we did some like honorable mentions, right? Yeah. Like, if you had like a Port Ellen, it's going to be good. It's 35 years old and it's absolutely delicious, but
it doesn't belong in the conversation.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get it.
A Rosebank,
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I do feel good about
Rosebank
this year. Everything that could be on this bar tonight is available.
I really like that.
It's you're going to see it on shelves. You're going to see it on websites. If you question it or you're intrigued, you can go get it, right?
Yep. And they're all about $60, $70 or less.
At least we've tried very hard to keep them in those price points. Yes, you're absolutely right. There was some single cask Glendronachs over the years that I was like, oh my God, this thing is phenomenal. But am I going to rate it bottle of the year when I know you're not going to get it? It's gone.
Yeah, there's only one cask of that. in
Right.
the world. Yeah.
Especially when you look at what we're trying to do with the channel. We've always tried to do, to help you make better decisions on your Scotch purchases, right?
Yeah.
And over the years, we've learned just as much as from the people in the comments, because you all are out there buying Scotch and have perceptions, and that's helped us on. Actually, this whole idea, the reason this happened was because of someone in the
Oh my
chat
gosh.
tonight. I mean, it was his idea, and
Yeah.
I want to talk about this for a second, because I remember
Ah.
the beginning for us when we got that bottle, boys. How
What?
that was an amazing bottle. Kubokin was one of those bottles that Mike still is probably one of his favorites, right?
Yep.
And we
he
went to
actually had
Chicago
one,
a couple
so-
times just to find it. I mean, that
there's
was
a ton of them
that was a
now.
cool.
There's
Really?
not, yeah,
Mhm.
there's a bunch of different variations.
They're starting
Yeah.
to.
Tomatin has taken Kubokin and ran with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Because it's
realized.
good.
Yeah.
It's really solid.
But I think that the interesting thing about this is it takes some of what we normally do, but it's true fights throughout the year. They belong here. They've won. Yes, it's still technically our profiles, our personalities, but there's a scoring system that we've always tried and true. And
Yep.
it's a matter of
Right.
who won that fight because of that.
And quite frankly, to be in this bar tonight, it wasn't just about one perception. We visited these bottles more than once to get here,
Yeah.
right? Because it does come down to your palate that night, what you ate for
Yeah.
dinner, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
hey, Hoagie, I want to say hi to
Can-
him,
Can I just say,
our guy over in Germany.
I'm shocked that you rated Peat Monster and Naked
The same.
the same.
325.
It's crazy.
Oh my
Both
gosh!
relative.
When-
I
when
guess
you
maybe I'm
suppose-
more heavily influenced by price than. Well,
I suppose that's all
I
right.
think it's pretty good too.
Naked is good.
Naked is
Naked's
good.
pretty
I mean,
good.
it should be on, well, all these should be on your bar, but especially that one.
All right. Well, now we're down to two.
Mhm.
They got to come out and do their talent portion. And
So they're gonna start dancing, doing who's gonna sing, and so these guys
These guys
are out.
They are.
Who's
It
going to
comes
be the
down
true
to-
bottle of the year? It's going to be either the Muna.
or the
Or
Aaron.
Aaron.
So does anybody want to change what they said earlier? I mean, now it's down to two. You got a 50-50 chance here.
I didn't see anyone say naked, so that's probably okay. I saw a few peat monsters.
Yeah,
but
I saw
most-
once we hit these, the Aaron 10 was.
Oh
hit
yeah,
a
Aaron
bunch.
10 was definitely the big one. I think
There were a lot of bonus that people were saying.
Munas were strong. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know. I think this is going to be really close. I think the scores are going to be really close, like close.
So if they're, do you want to say something like if they're within 1/10 of a point, we need to all pour out and do another blind head to head, or
No,
no? I'm
No.
kidding.
No.
We're not doing that.
but we can't go to number one yet. We got to talk about next year, right? We're doing
Well,
next
what
year.
are we doing next year,
So
Andrew?
Tom, it's not a fake vote. I just don't. Unbelievable. He's busting my chops in these.
So since this is the last live of the year,
It
so
is,
Scotch
isn't
Dummies
it?
is-
Oh, is it?
It is. This is our last live of the year, last official live on YouTube of the year. So we need to talk a little bit about next year. And next year is going to be an interesting year. I think we're going to do something similar with the King of the Hill, but it may be by region. It may be by, another criteria that we haven't fully determined yet. So if you have comments, please put it, or ideas, put it in the comments. But one of the things I think we're going to hit big is American single malts. So American single malts is coming into the realm of being a pretty substantial market. It's still small, of course, smaller than bourbon, arguably still smaller than Scotch in the U.S., but it has so many similarities to Scotch that it's natural for us to pull into that market. You know, Scotch is getting so expensive right now in the U.S. that it's really limiting the number of people that can access it. So all distilleries in the U.S. are hitting their single malts, their American single malts. Now, one thing that we'll have to discuss is, are they following the proposed U.S. American rules for American single malt, or are they using what is some consider that if it's greater than 51% malt, it's an American single malt. That's the discussion we'll have to have. That's probably be part of the discussion when we go
So-
through them. But
There's lots of suggestions already coming out. Hoagie says best closed distillery. That sounds expensive.
I like Blacklingers and need a unicorn.
Yeah, neat unicorn category again.
Oh, I
expensive and
like that
tough,
idea.
Tough to.
so if
to
you have a
fulfill.
unicorn, go ahead and send it to us. We'll
Um,
taste it.
But yeah, I'm game for putting another King of the Hill up, but let's change it up as far as category type. You know, what's the criteria? What are we going to fight?
Yeah,
You know?
instead of having multiple, I mean, we did 4 categories. That was a lot of bottles to review. We need to slim it down a little bit because one of the things, to your point, is we want to get back to our roots next year a little bit too and start doing some of our normal reviews, but kind of that journey, because that's what we've been on, and hopefully you have been too, is this journey through Scotch, and we're still on it and we're still learning, but we've gone through quite the bit of a journey experience with Scotch. So American single malts, to your point, is kind of in our wheelhouse.
It's in the line because again, your Scotch journey, your whiskey journey, your American single malt, that's going to be the most similar to Scotch in the U.S. Bourbon is not similar to Scotch in almost any way.
No.
So it really is a completely different category. Single malt is kind of American single malt is almost an arm on the Scotch category, in my view.
So Tom, I know you're kind of pulling our leg with the King of the Hill of rum, but I'd be up for it. I wouldn't mind doing a rum or even a tequila, something different. It'd be fun, you know. But at the end of the day, we're still Scotch. We'll still do Scotch.
Oh, yeah,
we'll do the King. But
we could do like under 15 year and over 15 to 25 year, and then
a little higher end.
I'm hoping for what did Mark buy at the auction this week?
Ooh, that's a good one. Volts out
that's
there.
Expensive.
Yeah, it is.
You started on that.
Doesn't feel like it from where I'm sitting.
No, I know. That's exactly what scares me, right?
All right, let's move on to our. So how are we doing this? What did we decide? We doing number one?
Let's talk through both of them real quick, and then we've got to pull the number 1, and then the number 2 goes and cries.
Okay.
Yeah. So, which one do we want to start with?
Well, I'm gonna pour the Boone.
All right. Well, let's. I already had a glass of that, and it's delicious.
I'll have a glass too.
All right. So Bunnahabhain 12. Bunnahabhain.
Ooh, Bunnahabhain.
Habanero.
Habanero.
Bunnahabhain habanero.
So here's a little note, an interesting note for all you Scotch fans out there watching. Bunnahabhain, we are foster dog failures. We fostered Golden, and
I mean, we all called this, by the way.
Yeah, for like
it was like
48 hours.
yeah, I was played. I knew this was coming, but to my surprise, we got a chance to name him, and my wife named him Bunnahabhain.
Mm-hmm.
He's Boo for short.
Boo.
Boo Radley is his full name. Bunnahabhain Radley. Boo for short because her favorite character is
I need to kill a mockingbird.
Okay.
Yeah,
So anyway, so his name is Bunnahabhain, but obviously we don't say that all the time. Although she does say that when he's getting in trouble.
Bunnahabhain.
Yes. So that's appropriate.
That's pretty
but
awesome.
his name is Boo.
Well, you know, Scotty came from Scotland. That's what.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You guys.
I love it. All of our dogs. My first 2 dogs were named after Irish beers. Right?
Guinness and
Murphy.
Murphy.
it's all good, man.
Yeah.
Go with
So,
what works.
so this is a great bottle. This is very popular. This one actually was the only one to come back from the dead in the King of the Hill. Remember?
Explain that.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So I don't remember the whole story, but basically it lost something. I can't remember who beat it in the sherry category. It lost, went out, and I think we lost about 100 subscribers because they're like, no, Buddha, not whatever. So we did a poll,
Return of the King.
Return of the King, and asked which share in each category, which one should come back. And Buna won on the sherry category, and it came back and it won that category.
J.R.R. Tolkien voted.
Wow.
Return of the King. Come on, you guys. Dad joke. You guys suck.
I can't get on board with that one.
That's
I'm sorry.
That's terrible.
That's terrible.
So the thing I like about this, so this is a sherry category. This is definitely a sherry whiskey because it's got that, that bitter chocolate on it. It's got the dried fruit and things in there that really give it that classic sherry character. It's not as sherry. It's not as much of a sherry bomb as some of them, but it's got a good balance of the category that I think that's the reason it came through.
I kind of feel like because we had a sherry bomb with the patrons before the show started. And to me,
we did.
This is a good entry level sherry.
Of course.
In the fact that it's not so powerful.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like getting a super peaty scotch, and it kind of turns people off because it's just too much for them.
Right.
Whereas, you give them like a Highland Park that's just got a hint of the peat, and they're like, oh, well, that's interesting. What else does this do? And you can kind of walk them and guide them a little bit. And I think this is a great entry level peat because it's got real good depth and character, but it's not so heavily sherried that it's almost
It's
too much,
gateway.
right? Yeah, exactly.
Gateway.
Gateway draft.
I mean, if you you just put your nose in there, you get enough sherry to go like, that's what sherry's about.
It's got all the like dark
So
tea
overpowering.
and
Yeah.
dried fruits and leather and old tobacco.
Yeah, if you're used to the overall
nice.
sweetness of a bourbon, and you hit this, you're like, oh, it's sweet, but not that sweet. It's got enough of that bitterness in there
It's true.
that it's kind of like,
Well,
interesting.
well balanced, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, guys, before I forget, I want to call out DBHG.
Oh, D.
Heck
Thank
yeah.
you for the
Hi,
super
D.
chat. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. And I believe we
Thank
have one
you.
more down here that
We
I
do.
missed, I think.
Tom R.
Tom R.
Tom R, where are you, Tom?
Christmas time.
Happy holidays. Hope you have a
You
bottle
know
of
what?
your
Let's take a
dreams.
time out to say that. Absolutely. Happy holidays.
Happy
It's our
holidays.
last live, so we
Cheers
won't
to
be
that.
around to say that again. Awesome. Thank you, Tom.
Yes, thank you. Cheers to you all.
Well, so the Boona's delicious. Big fan of that one.
So do you guys think
Jared's comment.
you think Boone's gonna win?
I don't know. It's good.
I don't know how it can't, but I mean,
It's
we haven't tried
good
the air
on
yet.
the palate.
I think,
right now.
I think Aaron's gonna win.
You know what's funny? That the ex-bourbon barrel category, we were all kind of like it got started late, and I think all of us were kind of like, meh. I mean, okay, it's all right, But Aaron's good.
Aaron is really
So
good.
it just dawned on me before we get any further. I need to make a point known. This is in defense of Drew. I was busting your chops about ranking the first two the same score. You technically did not rank Naked. You
Oh,
were out
that's
of
true.
town.
I didn't do that
Oh,
one.
Technically,
I told her we're
Drew's
done.
score of
Oh,
3.25
that
was a proxy
is,
vote.
is Leanne from Scotch and
I'm off the
Bayou's
hook.
vote.
I'm off the hook.
I was down and on her bar, and Drew was out. I can't remember where you were.
My bad.
Yep, you weren't able to make it, and so we put. No, you were in Boston. No.
That was for Nick.
Okay. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's
You were down there with Lee.
Yep.
right. I was with Lee, so Lee
Yep.
filled in and voted for Drew. So that 3.25 technically is Lee's vote, and I think she'd stand by it.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
I can't bust her chops about it.
That's her actual vote.
Oh yeah, so Leanne
assigned it to
Naked
Drew.
blend 3.25 and she put Drew's name on.
That's,
it. So
that's
you
probably what
can't-
I would have
you
given it
can't
to
see
Lee. So good call on that.
There you go.
There's one focus.
But yeah, well, I was trying to get the light off it on that white, but
Yeah.
so I just dawned on them like, oh, you know what, we
Good
got a
call, right.
Leanne vote in here, and let's be transparent about it.
Enough chatter. What is the number one?
Oh no, I'm gonna have an Aaron now.
Oh, we haven't even talked about Aaron.
Oh,
Slow
Tease
your
this
roll,
up,
man.
brother.
That's
Tease it
why,
up.
that's why you
Tease
need
it
to
up. Tease it
you
up.
need to pour little drink. All right. So
These
what else
were
can we talk
little.
about?
They're all little.
Well,
Well, we gotta. So, what did you guys think about the Aaron?
I need to pour a little
Hey,
bit
have
first.
some.
Well, you definitely should.
Buna is one of those
There's
great
nothing that's your
cherry hinted chocolates out there.
God, the chocolate
So good.
So a quick side note: there's a Boona Haben 12 cast strength out there nowadays, ladies and gentlemen, and
Sounds
that
horrible.
it's so horrible.
It's so horrible.
Don't buy it.
Yeah, send it to us.
Leave it on the shelves. I'll take care of it from there. Yeah, it's good. But I'm seriously, this is it's an awesome bottle. I actually got started with one of our subscribers, patrons that's watching, Bob H, got me kicked on the various Boona Haben 12 bottles over the years. Boona Haben didn't start bottling 12-year-old single malt until the mid 80s, let's say. Everything else was going into blends at that time. So when they kicked off Boona Haben 12, the bottle and the liquid inside has changed over the years. There's 5 different variations. And between Bob and I, we've been on the hunt together, and I have 4 of the 5 right now. I got to find.
I got 2.
Yeah, Bob. So
3.
there's an old one. Just get the bottle to show the difference. So
Yeah.
like this is what you see on the shelf today. This is what
Here,
you
I'll pull up
saw.
the dram can.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
that's what it's for.
Yeah,
What's the ABV here? Turn this. Look at the ABV difference. This is 40%. This is 46%.
Come up there.
So the old bottling on the side here is 40% ABV, and the new bottle is 46. So I mean, it's just a fun walk through history with Boona Haben to see what they've done over the last, I guess, what, 35 years or so. And how their liquid has changed from 40%, I believe it went to 43%, and now at some point in time in the last 15 years, they made a decision. Everything's bottled at 46 now. So
I will
like
say
that,
too that the bottle itself, they did a good job on the color of the bottle, because this looks like NyQuil. If you look at it with the green bottle,
yeah, so the bottle changed a little bit. It's brown.
It's brown
Right.
now. It's not
Yeah.
green like that.
And
So,
the dude steering the ship keeps getting younger.
does he really?
He does.
That one's got like an old gray beard.
Yeah.
This guy looks
So
like he's
if
about
you're out and
28
about and
drinking,
you're,
right?
and you're looking, I mean, these are kind of prized.
You can find the
keep your
black
eye on
label,
them,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
you know the red label's obviously the one, the new one, but
I mean, it is lower ABV, but it's also older juice. It's
It
it's Bunnahabhain at another time, really.
it's kind of getting into the Glendronachs a little bit as far as the
Yeah,
age weirdness.
it's different. But it's a fun journey. Bob was the one that started us on that. And actually, Bob set up a couple of blinds where we, kind of tasted the difference. Can you tell a difference? And obviously, when it's 40 and 46% ABV, you're going to notice a difference. But
Yeah.
can you taste it? And there is.
Yeah.
There's a difference in
It's got to
taste.
be. It's a different malt and everything.
Right.
Well, speaking of that too, the juice in this one is different too. We talked about that.
Right.
Like it's like, so I had my brother-in-law pull one from St. Louis, thinking maybe it's because the first one we did for the Kingly Hill series was lighter than this.
Yes.
Significantly
lighter.
And we bought this one and we didn't think anything about it. And then you pulled it out and we're like, did we? Is something
What did
wrong
we
with the
do?
bottle?
Is something wrong?
And I remember you came down and tasted it, and it was pretty much the same.
Well, I think the nose on the lighter bottle was way better.
I
It was,
agree.
it was a much more potent, just unique character to it in the nose of the 2020 bottling
yes.
versus the 2021 bottling.
Yes.
Although this nose is still pretty decent.
It is decent, but it was not,
not
as
as-
good.
It's
So
not
let
as
me get into
powerful.
that, Aaron.
So on the nose alone, I would give it to Buna right now. Just the nose.
See,
Oh, really?
Yeah. After drinking the Buna, the Aaron is just like,
I don't know. I
Super
actually still
sweet
like
and-
the Aaron. To me, it's a cleaner finishing scotch. I don't get that like cloying
Oh, yeah.
that you get with the sherried scotches. And I like the fruity vanilla notes that it's got going on. I mean, it's a refreshing dram.
Yeah.
it is refreshing. It is not my
Well-
wheelhouse. This year, I finally essentially confirmed that the really light second, third fill ex-bourbon whiskeys just do not hit my character. That mostly
Really?
do make, I just don't like them. I mean, I respect them. I understand they have great the character there, but it's just not my palate, not
So-
my wheelhouse.
I like what you're saying there. To me, I like them because they take more of my attention. There's to get the beauty of them. They're subtle.
Well, the problem I have is they're so floral, and that floral character is not my palate. I just don't like that.
Okay, cool, man. I get it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So quickly, because Brienne's on, I got to talk about this. Buna is a chocolate covered cherry with cream, and this is that Werther's original kind of that cream caramel. Like this, just from a standpoint of giving you that 40 flavoring, if you will.
So
that's what we're getting.
this reminds me more of those caramels that have the cream center in them.
That's what I meant. Those kind of creamy, the
Yeah.
soft ones.
Yeah, the soft ones that you chew. Not the Werther's is more like rich caramel and vanilla. But
I at least have to talk candy once
Yep.
during our show.
Hoagie, it says a flaming F.
I
Thanks for keeping it family friendly. I appreciate it.
I don't even know what they're talking
I
about.
know.
I
What did he
totally agree with it.
I have no idea, but
the half the conversation that I've read, I enjoy.
it's awesome. And I know it's well intended, good conversation between those two. That's awesome. So let me get a nose on this, man. Oh, it is definitely much more fruity. And
Let me get-
Yeah.
malty and-
Right.
We have a quick question. What was the question?
We did
No,
We did not have the
so-
week of Pete.
And a few reasons why we wouldn't have had Week of Pete.
correct.
Number one, it's not a readily available bottle you're going to find on the shelf at your local liquor store. You're going to find it. It's out there. And then the price point
It is way
is definitely going to be higher. So if we opened it up to that it would be almost impossible to have like comparisons. I mean, we really tried to keep the fights between like whiskeys. What you're going to find on the
Pretty
liquor
close.
store shelf and price points
You
in
can kind of see through it if you
category.
want to keep it below the counter.
So back to the Aaron.
So I just had my first sip. Delicious.
It's really good. I mean, it's really
Delicious.
good. It's gonna be I'm very interested to see.
I think if these
What
two are
happens?
head to head right now, it'd be hard, really hard. But because we did them individually, that's why this is perfect.
That's why it's actually better. I don't know. I don't remember my scores
I have no idea what I did.
between these two because in their category, they are both very well done.
Yes.
Head to head, I don't think they compare. That's a weird thing.
It's a flip of a coin.
Yeah.
So number one, Aaron is like, you could blind pour this to me and just pour this and say, what kind of whiskey is this? And I'll be like, a Scotch.
Well,
that's,
yeah,
that's what
absolutely.
Scotch is supposed
That's
to
good
smell
whiskey.
like.
I don't even know what to
I
say.
love this, Aaron.
That came from Scotland.
Yes.
But
You're right. When someone says, "What's Scotch?" This.
There you go.
This is Scotch.
Just taste this.
This right here.
don't start with this. Like, I literally had a conversation with someone from work this evening after dinner, and he's like, "Oh, I'm more of a bourbon guy. I had a Scotch one time, and it was just so smoky and
Every
peaty." And I'm like,
time.
you're like 95% of the bourbon drinkers I know that say the same thing about somebody gave you the wrong Scotch
Yeah.
to start
They
with.
were
have a
trying to keep
Scotch.
you away from the good shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here,
look,
for your first
no corn.
Scotch, for your first Scotch,
Right.
let's start with Lefroy 10.
Exactly. And you'll never
Fair.
come back and buy my whiskey again. And that's why I'm doing it.
I guarantee you it was like a Johnny Black because it's on every bar, right? Like that's what they had when they were like 22 and they're like, oh, I don't like Scotch. That's horrible stuff. I can't believe people drink that. And just never tried it again.
Wow. So this is going to be very interesting. I really don't know who's going to win.
I
now.
gotta say, I love them both. I honestly,
They're both
I would
great.
drink. I would drink the whole bottle with anybody.
No
Right.
tears.
Right now, Edge, I give to Boonham. I just.
I don't know.
think
This
that's
is hitting me really well right
Aaron
now.
keeps fighting back.
I like it.
All right.
You gonna finish this?
Let's finish
do
it.
it.
Let's see.
Oh,
The number one
oh,
Scotch.
the Highlander. There can be only one.
So the number one Scotch for Dummies bottle of
I want to see
2022
that cartoon.
with a score of 3.625.
3.625. That blows these two out of the
Wow.
water.
That blows me away. That
Wow, that's
So
high.
no competition here.
so let me look at the score of number 2.
All right.
I want to look at what it is. The score of number 2 was 3.312.
Holy
Okay,
crap!
so-
This guy
So
freaking.
there obviously was a swimsuit competition. We just didn't get to see it.
Right,
because
right.
somebody-
So
Wow.
with a score of 3.6, what did I just say? 3.625. Boonham 12.
Oh
There
my
you go.
goodness!
Who
So-
gave it a 4?
Mark gave it a 4.
You son of a gun! Are you
Drew,
serious?
and Drew gave it a 3.25.
Loser.
What I give Aaron 10.
You gave them all 3.25.
Probably so. So
That'd be amazing.
no, he gave it a 3.75 for the Aaron.
What?
That's good.
All right. So so for those keeping score, the Aaron 10 is second place with a score of 3.125, and we probably need to put this-
125?
Yeah.
3.3125.
3.3. Okay.
Mark gave it a 3.0. I gave it a 3.0. Sean gave it a 3.5, and Drew gave it a 3.75.
Wow.
But you and I usually
We're
So,
close.
but you know what?
Similar on that
You
type
guys
stuff.
like the bourbon.
But you know what?
Well,
you are
give your-
giving way lower scores. I'm taking your credentials away.
I
buddy.
give your scoring. That makes sense. I'm down with you. The way Drew did. He's all about Boonhaven and the chocolate notes, and then he turns around and he does that.
What are you talking about?
I'm telling you, man. I don't know what to tell you.
That sucks.
You know what's crazy? So Boona, the only reason it's standing here at all is because it got voted back on the island.
No
That's
kidding.
true.
It
It
came
came
back
back.
to win bottle of the year.
There are a lot of.
It's a scrapper.
so-
It's a scrapper.
So then
That's crazy.
Boonhaven 12 was a 3.625. I gave it a 3.75. Mark gave it a 4.0. Sean gave it a 3.5, and Drew gave it a 3.25.
I feel like you were in the bag for Boonhaven. They give you money.
No.
Drew's-
Everybody got like a 275 except for
Oh, that's
Boonhaven.
funny. That's awesome. That's good.
Man.
Wow.
That is a stunner.
Now take all 4 bottles and make a blend.
Oh,
That's some crazy awesome
Wait a minute.
stuff
Now,
there,
that-
man.
Now
Whoa.
you can do that, and that would be an interesting perspective because what character? So
Wait a
you're gonna have to do a very light on the peat monster because you don't want it to be overpeated. You could probably do a fairly high volume of the Aaron and
Aaron
the Naked
10.
because you want to
Mark
bring the
was
volume
drunk.
up. They're pretty neutral.
What'd you say,
I
Mark?
love these comments. It said, so wait, it's a Cinderella story. Boona did a Spock.
Yeah,
Scott,
it is a
you've been
Cinderella.
playing with those Legos too much. We don't mix them like that.
It is kind of a Cinderella story. Buddha
really
came back
is.
Yeah.
from the dead and won the whole thing.
What was it? What did it win against? Do you have the spreadsheet? to pull up?
Yeah, I do.
Man, oh man.
Give it the hat.
Yeah,
Give
it
it
gets a hat. It gets the Highland hat. So,
So I'm looking at the actual scorecards. I pulled the Bunnahabhain 12,
Terrible.
and I literally wrote 4.0. Change my mind. Change my
That
mind.
sounds about right.
that is written on the thing.
I-
So Mark basically edged it out.
There's gonna be memes now.
Boona.
Well, me and as well.
I-
Because I had. So what did I have? I had a 3-2-5.
Bob
for the
H
Aaron.
in for the fix there,
I had
buddy.
a 3 for the Aaron. Yeah.
That's right, Bob. I'm
Wow.
glad you're on my side. You have an arsenal that I can count on.
Mark and I swung the vote pretty hard for Bunnahabhain at the end there.
Mm. Honestly, they're both top-notch single malt scotches. That is what it is.
They're really wheelhouse flavoring. They're totally different. It's your
Totally.
hey, what am I in the mood for?
Sure.
They're both top notch to your point.
Yeah. So hey, I need a single malt Scotch. Which do you give them? They are both single malts. They are wildly
It
different.
really goes back to my comment about candy. I mean, it's as stupid, but it's as simple. It's like, do you want chocolate covered cherries or do you want caramel cream?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you're getting.
Yep.
So Zach says post-show link has been posted. Are you going to flog me there? Is that what's happening?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I feel
Oh,
We
that
got
was
one on
so
here.
great. That was so amazing how big they came.
so rich.
wow.
Boomer.
This comment right here.
So let's
Cheers to that.
let's talk about Rich. So honestly, this guy has come.
he was fun.
He's
Yeah.
come a ton of.
So
I mean, honestly, he undersells his own experience and knowledge and comments. He
does.
knows. Rich, you've come so far, and I really enjoyed comparing whiskeys with you. You're doing a fabulous job. You've learned a lot, but you belong in the conversation. Your comments and perceptions
you know
are
your
just
stuff,
as
man.
valid as
You know your
anybody else's.
Yeah, that's the thing I like about whiskey is because you can buy a bottle of Bunnahabhain 12 anywhere in the country, and then you can get online and talk about it. It allows you to test your own palate. Are you getting the same character that others get? And if you aren't, how do I find those? What can I use as a comparison? And that gives access to this kind of discussion, this kind of interest to anybody across the world, really.
Yeah.
That they can get the Scotch. And if you're going to take your time and you study it and you work it and you try these bottles, you compare them, and you really make a science of it, you can really unbelievably expand your palate when you don't even realize you're doing it. And then you go up against somebody at a blind tasting and you're like, well, I'm tasting these because you're not pretentious yet. You've tasted a few things. You've understood a few things. You've done a bunch of research. Taste the whiskey. You start spouting things. And people are like, wow, you're really good at this. Like, oh, okay. I mean,
I'm just drinking whiskey.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I've just been drinking whiskey. Yeah.
Right.
Anybody can do it.
It's just nice to see people that we know and just the group, the community, the banter, the chat, the sharing, the knowledge. You know, we've
Very much
been
so.
on this journey, but the journey has been heart-filled because of you all and our patrons, especially just talking with you guys, the relationships. I mean, we've done this post show with our patrons for years, and they're not just patrons anymore, they're family. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for all your support.
Yep.
Yeah,
Couldn't do without you.
we couldn't, and it's been a fun year. I really enjoyed the series. I do want to say thank you and a hats off to Everwin for the
Oh yeah,
suggestion.
Yeah.
cheers,
on-
buddy.
on-
This
and
was a great
honestly,
idea. It really
know,
was.
Could it be corrected? Yeah, sure, we can make some edits, but I think we had a lot of fun, and I hope everybody out there had a lot of fun with it.
I'll tell you what, it was really interesting going back to kind of our roots and to bottles that were easily accessible and then just
It's fun.
putting them
Right.
head to head against each other just to see which ones we were going to win.
Yeah.
It was surprising.
Yeah. I think we had gotten into a period where we were drinking really nice whiskey.
And there's
So
nothing
we-
wrong with that.
And
No.
we had access
No.
to it. And I think that the most amazing thing for me was to go back after drinking, fancy, unique unicorn bottles, SMWS bottles, things like that. And then going back to your core lineup for most of these distilleries, you're like, wow, there's a lot of good whiskey out
Yeah,
there
appreciate
that
it.
we had lost sight of, I would say.
That's a good way of putting
Good
it.
way of putting it.
And I think it all forced us to go back and revisit things that aren't in just the normal wheelhouse. You know, this is where I've been sitting for a while. I've gone through my peated phase. I've gone through a sherry phase. I've gone through, and this forced me to go back through all of those phases and address it and fall back in love with them and be like, oh, there's really good stuff.
Well, and doing it blind was
That was the key.
the way to do it.
That was absolutely
Really.
the key, because if
Yeah.
you think, oh, I'm going to taste a $30 bottle of whiskey, like, oh, it's kind of flat.
Oh,
It just doesn't
geez.
have it's bleh. And then I drink a $70 bottle of whiskey. It's like, that's much better than the $30 whiskey. It's got to be.
I will also say that I appreciate the way we did it, where you probably don't know as much as we do on that side of the camera. How humble we were all humbled this year. There were times when I said, I'll take my vote's for the gold glass, thinking the gold glass was one whiskey, and the reveal, I was like, oh snap, it's the other one. I mean, I completely was wrong in my
The
mind.
review that you and I did at my bar,
Yeah.
and we picked Glenrothes,
Right.
and we got off the camera. We're like,
How the hell did that happen?
but Drew and Andrew are going to yell at us,
and they did.
and then they picked it
Well, we picked
3
up
more
some
weeks in a
weed,
row.
yeah.
Well,
So-
and that's the thing.
Well, you ain't wrong.
that's what Budenhaven beat to get back into the
Yeah,
final.
it did. It came back.
but
and
it
won.
had won like 3 or 4 weeks in a row.
Yeah, that blew
so
me
I will say I was
very humbling.
Changed my mind.
I was completely change your mind. I was completely like doing this series, learning and trying to figure it out. And at the end, we're like, we're going to do a bottle a year against each other. I was like, how's that going to work? I think it worked out really great.
Great.
Yep, I do too.
It did. We had a
Yep.
lot of fun.
Oh, we got another
So-
super chat. Hold on.
Who's this girl doing?
Scott done to buy you.
2022.
Oh wow.
You know what? You had a wonderful year too, Lee.
Absolutely.
And we're so excited
Thank
to
you.
see
She
the
finally got
channel
fiber.
grow.
And now she's live on
She's
Tuesday
busy
nights.
as all get out too. I mean, she's doing all kinds of things
I'm really
locally.
this is fantastic.
Respect the hell out of you, Lee, when it comes to
Love
whiskey,
you.
and love you as a person even more. But thank you for the super chat.
Wow.
So this is the last live show of 2022 for us. We will be seeing patrons outside of this show, a post show right now,
Yep.
here in a couple minutes. But I'm sure there'll be some impromptu Zooms that come around.
Great
See on the
comment.
Discord. They'll all be announced in the Discord. So if you want to know what, when, where, why, and obviously any of the patrons that are on, if you want to do a Zoom, you know how to get in the patron only channel on Discord and throw it out
Yes.
there. Hey, throw it out there. You know, if we're available, I'll join you. I'll throw the camera up from the house and have a dram with you. I'm all about that. Hopefully everybody's got a little time off they can get. So hit us up.
Yep.
Right
Couple,
on,
couple
right
more things before we let it go here. Where is it? I want to do a quick toast and shout out
Yes.
to Mystery Girl. Thank you for
Cheers.
all your support this year. You are
Yep.
fantastic.
Amen to that,
We
girl.
really, really do appreciate all the work you do for us.
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
owe
You're a
you
big
some
help.
work. We know it. We're working
You
on
know, but thank you so much for all your help. And then we also have Steve Ed, another
Oh,
good
Steve.
moderator of the show, Discord
Cheers to that.
master, and
Yep.
good friend. Thank you so much.
Thank
and,
you.
And a whiskey
Appreciate it.
connoisseur. It's not like
Yeah,
he's
he knows his stuff.
No slouch. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So, guys, last show of the year. It's been great. It's been fun. It's good to be back. Screw you, COVID. It's good to see everybody again.
Yeah.
But
Let's
I'm
have a
looking
good
forward to next year.
2023. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
thank you for a great year, YouTube. Everybody out there, you guys,
Cheers.
solid year. Really looking forward to what we can do. Man, I want a bottle of whiskey.
See you guys in 2023.
Cheers.
Go Boona.
Cheers, guys.
Go Bona.
3, 2, 1.